Nevertheless. Do you dare me? Do you dare me? Dare me, go on, dare me.
Yeah,
dare me. Dare you. Are we on? Dare me, go on.
How can I not dare you now?
Are you aware, dear
You've
friends
shafted
across the
yourself
globe?
on your own petard now.
Not shafted, hoisted. You twit. Hoisted on your own petard. Shafted, no. But I mean, what was it when you said sexually what?
I can't remember now.
Something about men have a propensity to be
attracted
to women who are downtrodden or in need or whatever.
Sexually attracted.
Sexually attracted.
Yeah. To underdog women.
Underdog women. What's the evidence of that, Tom?
Personal experience.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen one or two of your girlfriends, Tom, and they're not at all underdog women. Well, they're very powerful women.
Well, yeah, but that's what I bring out in them. In my sympathy for them and my need to help them.
Come to the Tom Newman Women Rebuilding Factory at the castle.
I bring out the best in them.
Yeah, I know.
And then they piss on me. Of course,
but you never remember me. There's no largesse ever comes my way as a consequence of your.
I didn't know you were in need, Rowan. I mean, I've always imagined you as being the man in command of all the women within 100 yards of him every time.
Broken-hearted, and sometimes there things occur that you can't kiss better.
Broken-hearted.
Indeed, I can't kiss better. Some things, when you're there. You
can't kiss better with a lip like that. No, you're being terrible.
No, I tell you, absolutely.
For sexually transmitted diseases.
Wouldn't it be awful, wouldn't it? I never had one of those things. I was greatly blessed. Listen,
I only had it
where
once.
have you been? I haven't seen. You've been in England. You've a new company, viral label. What is that about?
I know.
This is a new record production label.
Yeah.
From the man who, with Richard Branson, was there at the beginnings of Virgin Records, and the man who produced Tubular Bells.
The beginning was the word.
Yeah, in the word.
And the word was...
And the word was Tom Newman. The Wordsworth.
The Wordsworth.
So listen to me. Why the new company? It's very impressive on YouTube.
Well, it was just that we couldn't. Nobody wanted it. I mean, after it got finished, Paul Brett.
Now tell them what it is that we're talking about.
Tubular Bells,
the Children of Ireland.
Played by the Children of Ireland, which is a version that I started 8 years ago under the auspices of the SELB. And it took 8 years to finish, partly because, I had a nervous breakdown in between.
I must have met you in that period. I didn't know you were mad. I thought that was normality for you.
No, I was having a terrible time, and eventually Tommy Sands made me finish it.
Yeah.
Early last year, and when we'd finished it, it was miles better than I anticipated it would be. It was really, really good, and everybody I played it to, thought it was amazing. And I was working with an old guitarist friend of mine, Paul Brett, who I've produced albums for in the past. He lives over in Pwllheli in Wales.
Wales.
And I played it to him just, while he asked me what I'd been. We were just catching up on each other's lives because I hadn't seen him for 15 years. And I played it to him and he was amazed by it. He said, why isn't it out? Well, it's brilliant. It's miles better than the original, he said.
But Mike was very kind to it as well, wasn't he?
He was all right. No, he wasn't really very kind. No,
I thought he said good luck.
He said good luck, yeah. He said good luck.
Two words.
I said, do you want to hear it? He said no.
Well, at least he's honest.
I don't want to hear it because I don't like music anymore. This was about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was right on the edge of. He's a terrible man for the ladies. He picks the bizarrest ladies.
Bizarre in what sense?
Well, unsuitable.
Unsuitable in what sense?
He's a difficult man to get on with.
Yes.
The kind of lady that would suit him and make him happy isn't the kind of lady that he would be attracted to.
We're talking Mike Oldfield here. Tubular Bells.
Yeah. So he marries girls because they're beautiful, and then he finds out much later that they have quirky personalities to do, usually to do with taking money off of him.
Wow.
So, and he's just gone, poor bugger's just gone through another whole situation like that.
Should we, in order to succeed in this maelstrom of womenology, that's a good one.
Maelstrom of womenology, I like
Isn't it
that.
good?
That's
I
amazing.
think that's nice. A maelstrom of womenology. Should we be really seeking beauty in the personality and the spirit, and no matter what about the physicality
This
and
is
the looks?
exactly man's problem, Rowan.
What?
Well,
we do
that very thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
We're-
a man is attracted to the physical form of a woman much more quickly than he knows anything about her. So he'll be attracted to her before he'll commit himself to her before he knows whether she's a witch in disguise or
witch.
you know, she could be anything. She could be a hag with a wig on, and she would give him a terrible time, and he wouldn't know because he's completely in the thrall of the physical appearance.
Yeah, I know this thing. Are you aware that we're supposed to think of sex once every 5 minutes of our waking lives?
So they say,
Yeah.
I
Isn't that
find
amazing?
it to be not true.
No, I find it to
I
be
would
not
say
true.
it's more like once every 5.5 seconds. I would say, generally speaking.
Wait till you're
you
70.
can't walk down the road without thinking about sex.
Really?
Not really. No,
Just
no.
it happens.
As long as there's people in the road, obviously.
Yeah.
If there's nobody there, then
you're making
a bit-
assessments, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're
You can't help it because there's so many.
hunter-gatherer.
There's beautiful women everywhere.
Yeah,
you
they are
you only
beautiful,
got to
aren't
turn
they?
your head, and there's
and they're there.
there's rudeness about. You see,
Yeah.
there's something about the way that Islam looks at women is to cover them all up,
Yeah.
and that's
but that's about men.
not a bad idea.
Really?
Well, I think so.
You would be for the burqa, would you? Keep her for yourself. Keep her in the house.
Well, I don't know, but
Be
it's
kind to
it's
her.
a difficult problem. You see, it would be all right if men were educated via the old kind of chivalrous ways.
Yes.
But
Yes.
they're not. They're brought up like little mad incubus.
Yeah.
They're incubus, and and the problem is that until men are educated from a very early age about the way that the world is with ladies
Yeah.
and the way that they should behave, then
Yeah.
it's not going to get any worse. It's not going to get any better. And what's even worse now, the suffragettes ruined it, because as soon as the suffragettes got women to have their complete autonomy and independence, the women the pendulum swung the other way, and the women are trying to be as bad as the men.
I can understand. I see.
They're
I see.
coming out
Yeah.
of nightclubs reeling about.
Oh, yeah. You see it.
Looking gorgeous like angels, and they're cursing and
Yeah,
swearing,
yeah.
and drunk as
Vomiting.
pigs and vomiting all over the floor.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
I mean, we've become animals.
We
Rowan.
have. I see this. You're absolutely right. To the extent that Newry now has to have community wardens at night to shepherd people home and stuff like that, and all the
yeah,
rest
I
of
mean,
it. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff. Now, shall we play something of Tubular Bells, the
Yeah.
Children of Ireland,
Grand.
and then we can continue our
All right.
our musings.
You derailed it there a little bit.
I know, but that was all
earlier on.
right. That was okay. That was okay. Sean, have we got something? Sean's going to give us something here now. Tubular Bells, the Children of Ireland. we're going to talk about I am sailing, stormy weather. You'll be able to tell me about that in a minute, but not before you tell me about what we've just heard. It's so beautiful.
Where have we got to?
Well, we were talking about you were commissioned to do it with the Children of Ireland.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was your idea to begin with. You felt
it was
because it's part and parcel of your whole ethos.
But
Your Pirates for Peace when you wanted when you had the boat and were bringing youngsters together from both communities.
Yeah.
And then the tubular bells, the Celtic, I call it Celtic tubular bells. So it was done, and it's hugely beautiful, as we've just heard. Possibly better than the original.
Well, all the Mike Oldfield fans on Facebook have piled me with flattery over how they think it's a completely different slant on it. You know, they loved it. And several amazing things have come out of it. The first was that I sent it to a jock, a DJ in Dumfries and Galloway called Hugh Taylor.
Yep.
He's a folky kind of very, very good man. And he played it on his show, and I did an interview with him over the telephone. And during the course of the interview, I said to him, he said, this seems something that could be repeated, you know, this is something, is there any other? And I said, yes, well, I've got an idea that I've kind of offered it to loosely around, to do a children's version of Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band by the Beatles.
Yes.
And I said I was thinking of going to Liverpool with it and seeing if I could get the Liverpool schools. And he said, no, I want it. So he snatched it. So, and within a week of that phone conversation, he'd organised for me and Paul to go over to Scotland and to visit 20 schools in the Glasgow, Dumfries, Galloway area.
For goodness sake, this is an action man.
Yeah, and it's now in place. There's a Facebook page for it. The 15 grand's worth of funding has been raised already, and we're looking at the rest of the funding is kind of coming in online. We've got a funding lady, Janice, who's been following up lottery funding, and everybody seems mad about the idea. So that's going to happen hopefully this year, coming on. You know,
fantastic. We have a YouTube piece of the Children of Ireland. So we have two YouTube pieces. We play one of them now and let the folk get another handle on it. It's so wonderfully innovative and imaginative.
Well, I think the idea of this classic albums being interpreted by school children in schools.
Oh yeah.
Look.
There you are. Did you see this before?
Viral Discs and Downloads is a brand new label set up by producer Tom Newman and guitarist Paul Brett. It will be launched on October the 1st, 2013 with a new single download of Tubular Bells by the Children of Ireland. It heralds a brand new concept and recording of Mike Oldfield's multi-million selling classic album, undertaken by its original producer Tom Newman, with school children from across Ireland. Tom's idea was to bring to younger musicians the opportunity of recreating classic albums and record them in situ, with many sections actually being recorded in the classroom. It is a wonderful opportunity for kids to take part and experience the creation of world-famous music in the security of their own environment. It also includes disabled and autistic children. The full-length Tubular Bells album by the Children of Ireland will follow after the single. Tom intends to undertake similar projects in the future that not only bond together children and young people, but also communities and even countries through the medium of popular music.
It did, yeah. I've never seen it before.
Yeah, I love the piece where the voice says, the bells of Armagh Cathedral.
It sounds exactly like you, Rowan.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
You came in here on another pretense, and you cloned my voice and used it.
I did, yeah. I'm afraid it's...
Goodness gracious.
I pirated your voice.
So listen to me, in all seriousness, working with the children of Ireland, how did you find them in the sense of, were they little sectarian monsters coming out of different forts and camps? Or was there a childlike innocence of joy that adult concerns hadn't yet infected?
To me, the children were completely disinterested in anything sectarian.
Yeah.
I couldn't perceive anything coming from them. The sectarian, what there was of it, and which, I mean, we deliberately mixed the schools up, you know, and we got, I mean, for instance, we would be working in a Catholic school, and Protestant a school would have been invited to be part of the choir, and it was never a problem. The children don't seem to give a shit about it, quite honestly, and as they shouldn't,
as it should be,
correctly.
yeah.
That's
as it should
and
be.
So as long as they're left alone, and they're not given all the weight from the grown-ups of it, then it would be gone in a couple of generations.
It's funny that there is a...
But you see, there's still grown-ups who can't let it go, you know.
It's funny, it's not funny, it's interesting that there comes a moment in the life of the human being in Northern Ireland, in tribal Northern Ireland, if we inhabit that amphitheatre for a moment, there comes a moment of trip over from the innocence and the openness of childhood to the marching to the drum beat, green or orange. And I'm not sure exactly where that
I don't think it
trip
happens.
over point occurs.
I think it only happens in the ghettoised working class areas.
And born out of fear.
And born out of fear, or whatever it is. But it's perpetrated in Polglass and East Belfast and North Belfast and places like that. But in the more liberal, opener areas, you know, where you've got liberal parenting, like places around here where it's slightly more, I suppose you'd call it middle class or upper. I don't like using these words, but you know, they're there. As soon as you come out of the estates, it disappears almost immediately, you know.
Having said that, some of the warmest and most wonderful people, and I've seen them in the estates, I've seen them in Catholic estates and Protestant estates, warm and wonderful human beings. You know, there's a joy there. There's a community. There's a community there in which people grow together. And I certainly know estates that I know. It wouldn't matter two shakes of a lamb's tail what a person was. I remember a very famous person within the BBC lived around the corner from me in Rooney's Meadow when I was growing up. And we played together on the football. We all played, everybody played. But this lad was a young man at the time, a boy at the time. He stood at school. He was a Protestant. We were Catholics, mostly out kicking the football. And I only discovered years later in my adult life, he was in the BBC. I had left the BBC and was back with RTE. And I remember sitting on my boat having a conversation with him and being told, when I was a boy in the Meadow, I couldn't play football with you. My parents told me not to. So, you know, but certainly from our side, and it's the same in Rooney's Meadow, it's the same in Derrybeg, in Newry, it's a community goodness that's there. I mean, anyway.
It's nothing to do with what it was 30 years ago.
No, it's so different now.
You know, thank God that, you know, the generations, they're ironing it out by themselves. And to a certain extent, what's helping is the whole media. I mean, there's this double-sided argument about the media influence on young people nowadays. Some say that you know, all they do is look at their phones all day long, and they're in the middle of a great exciting life, and they're watching it on telly. You know, someone else doing it on their little phone
crazy
things.
Stuff. Yeah.
But at the same time, the influence of the media being global now instead of just parochial, the influence of the media has kind of shown young kids that actually this parochial stuff is so uncool. You know, they think it's uncool. They'd rather copy someone in California than they would someone in West Belfast or East Belfast or wherever you like. You know.
What's your sailing project?
Oh God! Well, that was another. I talked to a radio station called Radio Dart, which is in Dartmouth, and the jock, a fella called Stephen Kearney. We got on like a house on fire. He came over to Belfast, in fact, to interview me, and did it on a little thing. And because he found we were talking about my life in general, and I explained that I lived on the river in London for 15 years of my youth, and we got talking about ships, as you do, and boats.
Of course.
And the fact, because he came from Dartmouth, the first minesweeper I had was HMS Dittisham, and Dittisham is a little town just a couple of miles up
on the Dart.
So we had things to talk about there. And where she was moored was right next to Philip and Sons, which was a shipbuilding yard on the Dart, which closed about 10, 15 years ago. And I was moored there. And that area, it's called the Nos, is up. It's been closed down, and they're trying to get funds to make a nice marina and a kind of a place for people to come on holiday and stuff like that. And I suggested that it would be great if it was like a pirate village, rather than a posh modern marina that looks as boring as every other posh modern marina on the planet.
Tupperware.
Absolutely, Tupperware is a perfect.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It's a perfect word for it.
Yeah.
I said, let's make it like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
So he said, well, how do we do that? I said, well, I'll draw it for you. So I've been at home drawing this Pirates of the Caribbean marina set in Dartmouth, and it's coming out so well. It's gonna. I'll come up.
We'll
and show
talk
you.
about it. Yes, I want you to.
As another, I meant to bring it with me, and I completely forgot when I walked out the door. So that's but as a addendum to that, there's also, he's involved with a guy called Tom Cunliffe, who's a sailor.
I know Tom.
Writer.
I know Tom. He's a classic boatman.
Absolutely.
He was over with us here. I met him. He's a lovely man.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to see him on Saturday.
Well, you tell him about Rowan Hand and Carlingford Marina. And he may or may not remember, but Tom Cunliffe, a huge man.
Yeah.
Oh,
now there's a company called Sail Trade that he started with Stephen Kearney, this jock, and they want me to join it as well. And the plan is to build trading clipper ships again. And because
Cunliffe would be right up there for that.
Well, he is, yeah. And you see, because they're carbon neutral, a clipper ship, when you're sailing. I mean, okay, you're only carrying maybe 2,000 tons or something, But there's a lot of cargoes that don't have to be somewhere very quickly,
Absolutely.
And a vast number. Incidentally, 5% of global carbon emissions comes from ships, which is that's a lot. That's millions of tons a year.
Of course.
When you're dealing with a container ship with an engine as big as this block, each cylinder as big as this room, and you're pouring diesel fuel into it.
It's ugly.
Can you imagine?
Ugly.
It's
ugly.
I mean, it's on one level, it's a beautiful technology, but it's lethal.
Well, we have new responsibilities. The way the world has gone, we've seen what we've done wrong, Tom.
Well, that's the whole point, to get sail trade back.
Be great, wouldn't it?
And what's going to make it interesting is that a few ideas have cropped up. I want to get Richard Branson into this because. He's mad about entrepreneurs. So what we're going to do is we've got a clipper ship at the moment that we're about to try and get on a lease deal as our first ship. The plan is to build them either at Dartmouth or in Portsmouth, because the naval dockyard is closing down. So there's a contact there in the council who's very keen to give us the naval dockyard on a cheap lease, to build the first clipper ships.
Yes.
And what's going to get Richard interested is that, like the old days, like the tea clippers and the China tea races, you bet on it. You bet on which one gets there first. So big money used to change hands over whether it was going to be the Cutty Sark or the Thermopylae or the Taping or the Ariel, or which one of the 4 or 5 that were the star ships, So we get betting into it. That's going to get everybody interested. But not only that, we take bad boys out of the prisons and out of the everywhere we can.
And drown them at sea.
And drown them. No, not drown. And we put them on board, so they're learning the ropes.
Yeah.
So you've got an experienced crew, but you've got maybe 20 kids.
Yeah.
You know, who've had bad times.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
Out of the places where they should never have been in the first place.
Yeah.
And we take them to sea, teach them the ropes, but on the voyage they have to come up with a business plan of some kind for their own futures.
My gum.
And Richard is going to go mad for that because he's mad about entrepreneurship.
Absolutely, I can see it. He was
And he
very.
really
He
likes
had
it.
kind words and supportive words in relation to the Celtic project,
He
the
did,
Children of
yeah, he
Ireland.
was lovely, yeah, bless him,
Well,
yeah.
look, we have one more YouTube thing on the YouTube video on the Children of Ireland.
there's more.
So we'll have one more, and then we'll say farewell, and we'll get on about our business.
Grand.
That is great. The bells of Armagh Cathedral. But the
So does
schools
that
are.
mean that there used to be gangs of fellas who would go out on holiday, Irishmen who'd go out and build a school? Is that,
No, that's
all?
that's totally different.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, in my experience, people in Ireland should stay at home and raise money. The African people are well fit to build their own schools with
Well,
guidance
yeah.
and with support and with
Yeah.
whatever. They have the muscularity to do it. But what I was saying to you is we're playing a very low. We're just talking about my schools in Africa at the moment in Nigeria. It's a very troubled land at the moment, and we just have to be very, very careful. Tom, thank you for coming in.
Bless you, Rowan.
We've
Thank you
enjoyed
very
it
much.
enormously.
Hopefully we'll flog a
And,
few more records.
I think so. You must come more often here. I want to see you here more often.
Well, I've been away for a long
Yeah,
time, back
but you're
over,
now back.
flying back and forth to
you're
these
back, but your
various things.
tentacles continue to reach out from
But
the
I'm,
castle turrets at Warren Point.
Tentacles? I'm
Wow.
not sure about that.
I'm now we're going to go back to rubbish because news tends to be rubbish, doesn't it?
Oh, God,
it's awful.
the news.
But we have in bite-sized chunks, in broadest of brushstrokes, the news that you
Broadest
need
of
this morning in order to make you conversational, should you choose to be so, for the rest of the day. We return now to the News Hub Part 2. The News Hub. Your day, your news, your destination. The full flavour of the morning's news.